All right, today I have the pleasure of hosting Rob Moore. Rob is the CEO of Happy Vest. Rob is also a seasoned entrepreneur, inventor, and engineer who has embarked on his most ambitious endeavor yet, tackling poverty. Man, that's a big one. His Happy Vest, with Happy Vest, he's pioneering an app-based model that not only connects individuals in need of work with community cleanup projects, but also breaks down employment barriers for those often overlooked. Join us as we delve into Rob's vision for Happy Vest and its potential to make a global impact. Welcome in, Rob. How you doing, man? Where are you calling in from? Tell people a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Scott. I'm doing well. I'm in Salem, Oregon. This is where I live, and just hanging out here, enjoying the nice winter weather. It's a little chilly outside, but you can see I'm in my jacket because I'm out in my office. It gets kind of cold out here, even though I got the heaters on full blast.
So do you have a separate building there at your home for your office? Yeah.
Yeah, I have to because I have a 5-year-old and she
Oh,
always wants to, whatever I'm doing, she wants to figure out what's going on.
of
So,
course.
yeah, I have
Of
to be in a
course.
separate building.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. I've thought about doing that multiple times. Of course, you and I talked before we started recording here. I've got a studio down in my basement, but still, you know, interrupts. I'd like to have, like, it's interesting to have. I could take that same thing and separate it from the main house by about 5 steps, and it would completely change the dynamics of what happens, right? You know what I mean? It's
Right,
like the
right.
fact that people would have to go outside to come in would
Hmm.
would completely changed the fact that being interrupted.
Yeah.
I actually have a sign outside my studio that says recording now. That still doesn't stop people from coming in, so
Yeah, usually you can
uh,
hear my 5-year-old outside the door and I'm on a conference call or something and she's banging on the door going, Dad, Dad. And then you can hear my wife screaming in the other room going, Dad's
yeah,
busy. And she's arguing with her going, I hear him in there. He's, you know, it's
right,
like,
right, right.
it's like, Rosie, you need to
Wow,
go away.
that's
But
cool, man. So let's kind of talk about this. So what inspired you to shift your focus from traditional entrepreneurship to addressing poverty? That's a big tackle. Talk about that.
oh gosh, well, it's an idea that's been kind of kicking around in my head for many years. Um, I guess I mean, the origin story of Happy Vest, it started like decades ago when I came upon, well, I would always pull up to the same intersection, and this guy would always be standing there with the little sign that said, give me some money, and I need money, and every once in a while I would give him money, but then one day I I saw him come into the restaurant that I was in, uh, and I guess that's totally fine, the guy can eat whatever. But he pulled out the biggest wad of cash I'd like ever seen anybody holding at the time, and I guess I felt like a bit of a schmuck. I'm like, here's this able-bodied guy. I'm just helping him not work by giving him free money every day. He could work.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's been on my mind, like, how do you solve this homeless issue? And or are we all just perpetuating it? Like, how do we motivate people to actually go out and get work and help society and help all of us and not be kind of a burden on society? Or how do we promote them wanting to work?
Hmm.
And so that's kind of the early brainstorming of Happy Vest and how to make it go. How do you encourage people to work and still make money and sort of get out of this homeless cycle? It's
Yeah.
not easy. So
Well, I know in my, because I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. That's where I live now, born and raised here. But we lived in LA for about 6 years. And of course, Long Beach, LA has the largest homeless population in the entire
yeah,
United States. Well, for
yeah,
many
and
reasons, right? It's a huge population there, but the weather, right? So people, you can, in a sense, I
it's
mean, it just
easier.
is. Right. I mean, there's that. You hate to say that. I mean, being homeless is not easy, but it's easier because the weather. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It makes it a bit more less challenging. As opposed to like where you are in the winters, or even here in Tennessee,
but
like we
but
just
there's
came
but
through.
there's still a lot of homeless people around. Salem and Portland
Yeah,
is famous for its sort of homeless encampments and stuff, and they're
yeah,
out there,
they're everywhere.
and it's
Well,
miserable.
and I befriended a lot of the guys because they would come. The house that we lived on, we were probably, I don't know, a couple of streets. There's two streets divided. You could see out our front door. You could see the ocean. And you
Mm,
go across a couple of streets, and there was the ocean. So naturally, there were a lot of homeless people in that area because it's close to the ocean, all that kind of stuff.
sure.
There's the path that they could walk. But where we lived on the side of the street, it was a cut through alley,
Mm,
and so they would use that a lot for their pathway to other areas. And so I'd find them sleeping outside my gate, and then
mm,
I got to the point where I would make once a week. I'd make like 4 loaves of bread. Two I'd keep for us, and two I would put out in the alley with some
mm,
water. And
mhm.
part of that too is like you get to know them and I say, hey, you seem to be the kind of the main character around here. Just if you see anything unusual, just let me know. I'll take care of you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But part of that conversation and getting to know them is, and as you know, you have way more expertise in this than I do. This is just my small sampling. Is that you have a couple of things. You have those that are homeless by circumstance. You have those that are homeless by choice. You have those that are homeless because of mental and drug. So I think the mental kind of thing, there's an answer to that, right? We need to make sure we have social programs and things like that to rehabilitate, not turn them to the street, because the way it works now is like they're either incarcerated or they're put in the hospital. Neither one of those is the right fix for them, right?
Right.
Then you have those circumstances as a paycheck to paycheck thing that put them out on the streets. So I say all this to say this. My question to you is, those that obviously were a paycheck related type thing or a medical related thing where it became money, those is more of an easier kind of fix, right? It's just about, hey, let's give them the opportunity, give them the resources so they can get back into the workforce. But how do we have the conversation with those that it's not a mental thing, it's not a paycheck to paycheck, they're just making that choice to be there for whatever reasons? How do we get to them and motivate them to be a productive citizen? Like what have you found in
Yeah.
all of this?
Yeah. I mean, you touch on a bunch of good good points. I mean, there's multiple reasons why somebody might be in their particular situation, and there's not one solution that fits every scenario. I would say that what we're doing in Happy Vest, at least the idea around Happy Vest is to make it really easy for the person to help a little bit sort of on just whatever level they can. Even if you're in a wheelchair, or if you're mentally ill, or if you're strung out on drugs, you can still pick up a little bit of trash. And that's
Mm,
sort of the idea, is to to give them a job, to hire a person that would normally never be considered for any sort of position, to give them something that sparks maybe a little bit of pride in their immediate area, and also gives them a little bit of folding money that they can feel like they earned it, and it wasn't just given to them. And they I you'd be surprised how how many people are willing to step up and work, and just what condition they're in. It always
Mm,
kind of surprises me that, I go and ask. I was in Chicago at one point, and this guy who was obviously strung out on drugs, and he was just kind of shaky, and eyes are all bloodshot, and wasn't a great neighborhood in Chicago. And he's like, "Hey man, can I have some money?" And I'm like, what's your name? And he told me Geronimo. I'm like, okay, okay, Geronimo. Like, I don't have any money to give you, but I'm gonna go run an errand across the street. I'm gonna go into that Walgreens. But what I would like you to do is I'd like you to pick up, see all this trash and you're on the street right here. Just pick it up, throw it away, and come back, and I'll give you $10. I'll
mm.
pay you $10 for doing that. And and he could barely kind of get around, but he was excited to work, and he did the job. And I came back, and I gave him $10, and I said, "Hey, this is how you make money, dude. Just go around, tell people that you're cleaning up, and if they could give you some money, and people would be happy to, if they know you're doing a little bit of work." And it's different when you're just panhandling, I think.
Yeah, because then you're actually a productive citizen in
Yeah.
society, right? And so I think there's many things that you said there that made me think about you're empowering them, and then also too you're giving them permission, right? You're saying you can absolutely do this. So I'm curious because I didn't dive into it, but it made me think about it and dive into the app. Uh, but it occurred to me like when people ask you, "Hey, do you have money?" It would be great to say, "No, but here's what you can do to earn some money. Here, download this app." Because it's funny, like a lot of the homeless people have phones. It's like,
Right.
how do it's like you have a phone.
And they have
So down,
smartphones. I mean, they
yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
them have,
smartphones.
not all of them, but a lot of them do. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So hey, download this app, and we can put you to work. This is the way you can earn some money.
Hmm.
That would be so empowering. Like you're putting them in business. Like you've turned them
Right.
into an entrepreneur right there on the spot.
Exactly.
So how do you go and meet the people? You just what do you do? What do you do?
Well, um, they're 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 everywhere. I mean, you just see them. You see them everywhere, and they're humans just like we're humans, and just walk up to them, and just talk with them and ask them if they want a job. And I mean, 9 times out of 10, they'll just say, they'll want to talk. They'll want to talk a little bit,
Hmm.
even if they're slightly mentally not all there. It, it, most people sort of understand what money does, and they're kind of coin operated, just like you and I are.
Hmm.
We got to pay our mortgage, we got to pay our car payment and whatever, and we work to make money as well. And they're all interested in making a little bit of extra money for, and I try not to judge how they're spending it, whatever. It's the
Sure.
fact that you're out there and you're working. I mean, that's good enough for me. And
Yeah. So
so,
for me, like if you're going to, if somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, can you give me some money?" You make the decision to give it to them. You can't have any expectation on what they're going to do with that. You've done your
yeah,
part. What they do with that is their own thing. You have done your part as one human to another. I believe. I'm not going to prejudge that. Uh, what I will say is like I've had people come up to you, "Hey, can you give me some money?" You say, "No, but here's what I would do. I will either
hmm,
take you somewhere and get some food, or you tell me what you like and I'll bring it back to you." Because
yeah.
you can kind of tell, like, in certain situations, if they're like strong guys, like, "Yeah, man, you need food more than you need whatever else you're going to
Right,
use this for." Like,
right,
so,
right.
and
No,
so
it
is this, go ahead.
makes sense. No, I was just
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, part of the a continuation of the origin story of Happy Vest is maybe about 15 years later, after I had had this encounter with this homeless guy in Santa Barbara, Southern California, right? Um, I made this promise to myself this whole time. I'm like, I'm never going to give money to another homeless person, uh, especially able-bodied homeless person, unless they're doing some work. And if it looks like they're doing a little bit of work, I'm going to give them everything in my wallet. And that was like my little promise that I made. And I never ran into that person for the longest time. And then I was in the Bay Area, stopped at a gas station, and this guy came up to me. He's like, hey man, do you have a sandwich or something? And I could tell he was just kind of bumming money off me, and I didn't have anything at the time either. And so I'm like, no, I don't have anything. And I'm pumping my gas there at the gas station, and I'm watching him, and he's picking up little bits of trash all around the gas station. And I'm looking around this gas station. It's the cleanest gas station I'd ever been to. It was just, and I could just tell this guy had the owner's permission just to hang out and talk to people. And he was there, and he was picking up little bits of garbage and throwing them in the trash. And at that time I had another startup, and I was feeling kind of poor myself, but I just went to the ATM, and I walked up to him and I'm like, hey man, this is my story. I promise I would never give anyone money unless they were working. I see that you're working. I gave him $91 out of my wallet, and I was just like, you're rocking it. Like, keep working. Don't stop. And it almost made me tear up. And he was just like, God bless you, man. And and I felt really good, because I just, even though I was feeling like, man, I could really use this $91 myself. But it felt really good and correct to give him all of it. And I just said, keep your head down, keep working. You're going to get yourself out of this. Just you got it. And anyway, that.
Yeah, dude, I completely align with that at any time, man. And I have these sayings like, the giver receives more of the gift than the receiver. I mean, every single time, man. It feels so good to do those kind of things. So this app is not yet nationwide. Is that correct?
No, we're still working on the app. It's getting close. We're gonna have another design review today. We'll probably go live in about a month. Our website's live, so you can go to happyvest.com and see what we're up to. But we're kind of a soft launch at this point. We have offline working apps that we're working out the bugs to. We still got a couple more like payment issues to get through and get smoothed out before we go live. But it's close. Yeah.
So with that, like, kind of talk about that infrastructure for that. I mean, obviously you can't be everywhere. You're the passion guy behind it all. But let's say here in Nashville, Tennessee, because this, like, I'm not saying this for show purposes. This definitely resonates with me. Like, if I wanted to utilize this and go out to downtown Nashville and say, hey, do you want a job? The whole kind of conversation we're talking about here.
Yeah.
How would that work? What does that look like?
Well, the structure of the company is I just gravitate towards this sort of military structure where we have, recruits, people that we'd like to become a part of Happy Vest. And then we have captains that are kind of in charge of a little area, and then colonels and generals and people in charge of multiple captains and multiple colonels, let's say.
Right.
And so in Nashville, if we didn't have a person there already, maybe somebody like you or somebody who is interested in helping might want to volunteer to be, the first captain of the area. And as long as you had a car and a smartphone and, you're willing to do the work at the beginning, we would probably start a mini chapter in your area where where you would have the app and you'd have the ability to approach anybody on the street and help enable them to get the app downloaded, understand what the company was, do the first couple jobs, be able to pay them through the app, be able to, record what we need to record for social media. Because part of the company idea is to create content for social media. Let's say, maybe there was a cool restaurant in Nashville, and I'm sure you know about many of them that maybe have bands and they want to promote themselves, and they also want to give back to the community. We would target some of these companies as our customers for Happy Vest, and we would go clean up out in front of their establishment, and maybe meet with the owner and just say, hey, thank you so and so for helping out Happy Vest. Me and Geronimo are out here cleaning up all around your restaurant or bar or whatnot, or dry cleaning business or whatever, and thank you, and then post a little clip on social media
Right.
that they can share and we can share, and just good vibes all around, and get that person paid and move on to the next job, and
Yeah. So for somebody like me, like that, I know many people in this space, like here in Nashville, but that's part of my media company, right? I personally produce and have deals with brands where I produce content for them, reels, 60-second reels, and things like that
yeah,
for
yeah.
social media. So that completely aligns. We should, after this, kind of talk a little bit offline,
Okay,
once we're done, to see if there's some alignment there, because I think
sure. Happy
we can
to.
help each other for sure. So that's exciting. Make sure that you ping me back when you guys have launched,
Okay.
out of the soft launch, so that I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
update the all the social media stuff that we pushed this out on, so that people know what's going on with it. So that's very exciting, man. It's very exciting. How do you ensure, as we're kind of on this topic, how do you ensure that the individuals hired through the platform are adequately compensated and supported?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it adequately is kind of a fuzzy area. We're interested in it at a minimum, paying minimum wage. And it really depends on how much, a lot of the revenue that we generate, and how much, there's some experimentation that needs to happen in the beginning, where we really start to understand what the cash flow situation is and the modeling of everything. But minimum wage at a minimum, in the United States, somebody making $15-20 an hour, I mean, that's almost the weekly pay rate in Africa, right? Somebody might make 15 to 20 a week.
Yeah.
And so it really, that's why I'm saying that really depends, like what adequate means. I mean, I think the bottom line is we want to make a difference in their life, and whatever that sort of means, we're going to have to play that, be flexible in that area, because somebody who's homeless in downtown Zurich, Switzerland, or
It's
Oslo,
different than,
Norway,
yeah.
it's different than Accra, Ghana, and Abuja, Nigeria. It's just going to be so different. And in fact, you as a person, $3 or $4 might not make it. It's less than a latte at Starbucks, right, for you. But for somebody in Nigeria, it's life changing.
Life
I
changing.
mean,
Yeah.
life
It's
changing.
location specific dependent. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so maybe you might have an affinity to sponsor somebody in Africa. Maybe that's your budget. Maybe somebody who makes $1 gazillion a year might might want to be a sponsor in a different way, or maybe they have, maybe it's the whole McDonald's franchise that wants to team up with Happy Vest and help that way. I don't know. I'm excited to figure out like where it is.
That's the fun part. So kind of speaking of that, the funding to compensate these individuals, how does that work? Where does that come from?
Well, there's a couple different ways. Also, it's also location dependent. In the United States, the banking laws are a lot more free, and we can do certain things with the app, like Apple Money. Apple has Apple Pay, and they also have the wallet, and you can load money into that. I think the most generic way that we're going to try out from the beginning is kind of a gift card method, where maybe we're going to start out with hundreds or thousands of empty gift cards, basically. And then you, as the captain, you go out and you hire somebody. You make the gift card a part of the person's engagement with Happy Vest along with the app. So right when they do the work, you could load up their gift card with $10, $20, $50, or whatever the amount is for the amount of work that was done. And they can go into 7-Eleven or Walmart or wherever and just use that card to buy what they need. That's probably our most generic way that we're going to be deploying. But maybe that doesn't work. So we're just keeping a flexible mind on how that all works.
You have to test it. So the funding for actually Happy Vest to compensate the people, where is that coming from? Do you guys have sponsors? But like how does that work?
Multiple ways are being targeted. The very first way is in the small business arena, where we just go up to a small business owner who maybe has a restaurant or a presence or something out on the street, and we pitch them on the idea of Happy Vest, like, hey, we want to come and clean up. Here's some sample videos of what we've done for other companies. We want to come and do a little cleanup and promo video for you, as well as help the community around where you live. And if you can do $50, $100, $200, and if it turns into $50 a month, you want to do something like that, we'd love to get you on that sort of rotation, and we'll just help you create content and help clean up your area, and we'll use that money to pay the people that are doing the work. And so that's method number one. Method number two might be you as an individual. You could sponsor somebody. You might decide, I want to sponsor like 3 or 4 people in Africa, and I can do $5 a week, and I'll play along in their progress, and I'll watch them. I'll be able to follow them and watch them on the app or watch them on social media, and they're clawing their way out of poverty. And they might say a little thing on the video like, hey, thanks, Scott, you're awesome, you rock, thanks for helping me with this little area, and this is the before picture, and here's the after picture, and thank you so much. And so you as a sponsor might be interested in doing something like that. We're also going to approach larger businesses and enterprises, as well as government, city, county, state government type level. It's a little bit of a different business model to be a vendor, at the government level. But I think all that will just come in time. And I suspect that Happy Vest will be one of the team members of any local community to help fight poverty, and just another sort of tool in their tool belt that they can go and make sure that people are being paid appropriately, that the money is being tracked appropriately. And that's a big part of Happy Vest too, is like, how do you create this thing and also deal with the fraud that's invariably going to happen with money flow and money flowing back and forth. And so that's kind of the idea of recording the before and the after, and then who's there, and then everyone has smartphones, and so the back end is filled with the technological intelligence to track position and fraud and the flow of money and who worked and who didn't work and where they were and what happened and all that kind of stuff to help give people confidence that, you know, this isn't a big scam. We're really doing this, you know?
Yeah, I like that. So, thinking about a couple of things here. So I'm sure you've thought about this, but what immediately came to my mind, and excuse my being naive here, because since you probably already thought about this, you're in this space, but I'm thinking about partnerships you could create as far as this individual's worked with Happy Vest, and you've got a relationship with some other organization that will then help rehabilitate them to get them into the workforce. It's a natural thing. So you've kind of helped build their resume. Look, they are able to do this. Here's what they did for us. I've got video proof and all these kind of things we've done, and you just feed them into that kind of program to get them.
Well, not only to promote within Happy Vest, because I'm thinking, you know, the best privates, corporals, captains, colonels, generals are people that are coming up from the very bottom, and they really can empathize with what it's like to be there and come up through the ranks and help people around them be better at doing that. So that's probably method number one, is promoting from within would be preferred. And also, exactly right, prepping these people to build the confidence that, like, hey, I don't have to live like this anymore. You know, getting them enough resources to where they can get cleaned up and presentable and off to another job, and with that kind of confidence. And I know it's not going to work for everybody. It's definitely, I'm not, I guess I'm not thinking that this is a one size fits all type thing. I think that everyone has a different situation, and we have to be adaptable. And there's going to be some people that we just simply can't help. There's going to be people who just don't want to work, and that's okay. I don't want to pay them money anyway. You know, it's like, you want to be lazy, you don't want to work. It's like, I don't want to give you money.
Well, that's the thing, man. It's not going to work for everybody, and that's okay. It's going to work for those that it's supposed to work for, and you cast a net and you capture what you can, and you're going to make a difference. Even if you impact one person, that's the goal. It's like I always say about this show, your conversation with me today will impact at least one person. It's going to be more than that, but it's going to impact at least one person in some way. I imagine this kind of thing here. This is me kind of thinking, you've got all these, you know, privates and corporals on the street, and they all have Happy Vest shirts on, and they're working. People are like, you've got all the other homeless people. It's like, what's that all about? You know, and you create this kind of army and excitement around Happy Vest. So talk about that.
Yeah. So if they're at a restaurant and a crew's coming through, the captain is also a cheerleader, you know, and everyone who's working inside Happy Vest, and they're all wearing their little Happy Vest logo vests, and they all have QR codes on there, so people can take a shot of that and go check out what Happy Vest is. And the captain's roaming around making sure his crew is doing good work, and also has a lot of little business cards just to hand out to people who are out on this watching things go on, and helping to market Happy Vest further. And as we're cleaning up one business, I mean, of course, the captain's going to go into the business next door, and the business across the street, and the business couple doors down, and just bring the person out and say, see what we're doing down the street here? Like, look what we're doing. This is what we're doing for the people in the community. This is how we're cleaning up we want to clean up out in front of your business or government office or whatever. We want to help lift these people out of poverty. Like, what do you say? Can you help us?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not everyone's going to go for it, but it's a pretty good pitch.
Well, and you'll have you have people in passing on the surface like, oh, we got to do something about the homeless epidemic and situation. Well, this is one way you can help. Like it's not that it's not that big
Right.
of a commitment to be a part of this. So,
Yeah, and if you can do, if you're a patron just eating your lunch on the street, I'm not going to give anyone the hard sell, but if you're interested and you'd like to help and you have no time to help and you're not a business owner, well, maybe you want to kick in $1 a month to help Jim or Louise like dig themselves out of poverty, and you can play along and you can feel like, okay, I gave some money to somebody who's really trying to get themselves out of a difficult situation. And I appreciate and accept that they are working hard to do it. And maybe they're not doing a great job, but they're learning how to do a great job. Maybe they're at least trying to do something. And that's
yeah,
my point is that you want to give money to the people who are trying hard. I don't want to give money to somebody who is just going to waste it and make me feel like a schmuck and make their problem even worse. Because, you talked about California. Man, I used to live in California just 50% of the time, for many, many years. And they've wasted billions of dollars on trying to solve the homeless issue. And it just
oh
keeps
gosh,
getting
yeah,
worse. Right. So it's just whatever they're doing, they're just not doing it right. It's not helping. It's making it worse. They're just taxing the citizens harder and making the homeless problem worse. I'm like, okay, it's the definition of insanity, right? Of just,
so
the
much,
results
man.
are not going to change. The results are just getting worse. So,
It is, man. So, how did you? Where did the name Happy Vest come from? What's the meaning of that? Talk about that.
well, I wanted something iconic that people could recognize. You're in the digital world, so you sort of understand how hard it is to maybe come up with a memorable, easy to spell company name, iconic, and you got the URL and the Instagram and the Facebook and the everything. And so it just gravitated towards this name. Originally, I had the name Yellow Vest, and I had the URL, and I was prepping the company, and then these giant protests in France started to go off about Yellow Vest, and just
Yeah, yeah. That's not
completely
gonna be good.
it completely ruined my whole like PR angle. And just, every time you search for the word Yellow Vest, you're just going to learn about the protests in France, right? It's not going to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
anything about my company. So we switched to Happy Vest, and I kind of I like it. I like it better, actually. The URL was a lot cheaper, and it's just a simple little happy face icon, sort of the sideways happy face that you can do on your keyboard, and that's our logo. And it translates into all different languages easy, and that's kind of the idea, that it would be international company. People can say it, people can spell it, and when they see people walking down the street with a Happy Vest on, I want people to go, oh, that's Happy Vest, and this is what they do. And so that's how the name came about.
I like that. So you're talking about international. I'm curious about initial hurdles that you encountered while launching Happy Vest in Ghana.
Wow. It's been surprisingly easy, actually. Even without the app, we've already generated a little bit of revenue for the company. And as any entrepreneur knows, the day you generate your first dollar with your company idea, that's a huge milestone, right? And so we've already been generating some revenue in Ghana, working various events, and it's only going to get better with the app. There's going to be some international hurdles to jump over, when you're dealing with international cash flow, and how do you fund efforts in Ghana from revenue made in the United States? And, these are issues that little tiny companies generally don't want to deal with. But we have some strategies around that. And we have some good advisors helping us on the financial side as well. So
So
that's
when
an
you
important part.
this soft launch, is it once you come out of this is only going to be kind of initially launched in the U.S. with the idea of expanding internationally?
We've actually already soft launched in Ghana, and then we'll be soft launching in Nigeria next month, and simultaneously in the United States, all just at a small scale. I'm going to be launching around Salem, Oregon, and Portland, Oregon. There's plenty of homeless people to try and hire and get on board around here. And so I'll be as the CEO and founder, I definitely want to eat our own dog food, as they say, right?
Right.
So I'll be doing that and giving a lot of feedback to how it's all working, as well as the teams in Ghana and Nigeria. So yeah, we're excited to get some momentum there, and then as people from anywhere around the world start to learn about it, there's just a need for it everywhere. There's just no shortage.
Oh,
There's no
absolutely.
shortage.
So how do you measure the impact of Happy Vest, just beyond just the number of people employed,
Yeah.
and communities cleaned? Like how do you measure that?
I mean, you can measure it in all the traditional ways, and you can try and track maybe the amount of employees that you have, or revenue that you're generating, but I don't know. To me, I immediately gravitate towards that story of the guy with the starfish on the beach, and the 10,000 starfish, and he's throwing them back one at a time back into the ocean, and somebody's like, how are you going to make a difference? And how there's so many starfish out there. It's like, he's like, well, made a difference to that one, and he just chucks
Yeah,
another
right.
one back into the ocean.
That one. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I think we're just going to put our head down and try to make a difference in as many people's lives as practical, and try to make as big of a difference as we can. And yeah, okay, if we solve poverty and have to shut the business down, well, that's not a bad result either, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. So that kind of leads me into like the kind of long-term goals and aspirations. Like in a perfect kind of scenario, in your dream, what
Yeah.
what do you hope to have? What would you like to see for Happy Vest?
Well, obviously I'd love for us to make a big difference. I'd love for us to be impactful, not just in our local area, but all around the world. I'd love Happy Vest to be, I think about Happy Vest like, it's a bit like Uber, but without the cars. And instead of
Yeah.
giving people rides, we're picking up trash. And there's other aspects to it, obviously, that are going to be different. But that's kind of what I have in my head as a bit of the global model, is the ability to use a smartphone and to track the app, and it's going to be a real company. It's what's known in the industry as a B Corp. We haven't been certified as a B Corp, but it's like a benefits corporation rather than just a traditional, financially, fiscally driven corporation. We're driven by this mission of helping the homeless as well as being a real company. I think our chances to grow are best if we're a real company with all the discipline that comes with being a real company and being cash flow positive and growing the organization in a traditional way, which means we have to generate value for our customer, either in terms of social marketing or just cleaning up around their area. We have to generate that kind of value in order to get paid. And it's that flow of money that's going to grow HappyVest to be bigger. I made a conscious decision to not make it a nonprofit. I thought that, first of all, I think when you dig down into, look at nonprofits like Red Cross and Goodwill and various organizations like that, they still require cash flow to go. Like they have to have the flow. Otherwise, you're just nobody. You have nobody. You can't pay anybody. You can't do anything without the flow of cash. So whether it's through grants or through selling things of value, which is what Goodwill does, right? It's the model, even though it's nonprofit, the model is you get free stuff from donations, you turn around and sell it for a profit. And with that money, you pay your staff that might not be able to get a job elsewhere, that right. There are people that are in need as well. And so, it's grown to be a huge nonprofit, and but all because of the flow of money. And so I think with HappyVest, you need that flow. You absolutely have to have that entrepreneurial flow. Otherwise, it's just not going to be big. It's going to be me going door to door asking for donations. It's not going to be the same kind of company unless we can build the value. And building that value also means that we'll have the cash flow to pay the kinds of employees we really need to hire to make the company bigger as well. Like that's also an issue.
Yeah,
we have to
absolutely.
compete. We have to compete with the Amazons and the Googles and the Microsofts of the world to like pull in the best programmers so they can help us. And they obviously there's a certain affinity to work for HappyVest, but everyone's got bills to pay. Everyone's has a certain value with their skill set. So you got to be at least a little close to giving them the kind of value that they might command out on the open market. So.
Oh, for sure. I mean, because that will enable you to make a broader impact. I mean, I think you had a very great example. You going to door is going to make an impact, right, in that person. Yeah. But to be able to duplicate that with proper talent
and scale,
you got to pay the talent to be able to do that, so you can make a much larger impact. It's just money. Yep. It takes money to make the money to do the impact that you need to do. So it just does. I mean, that's the reality of what the world that we're in. It's an economy. It's the world. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you Scott wanted to be a captain in HappyVest, you'd be excited because you're like, I feel really great about the job that I have and I'm doing it. But you got a mortgage, you got a house, you got dogs, you got overhead, you got all these things. You're like, Rob, I'd love to work for you, but I can't do it for zero. I got to do it. I got to do it for something so that I can keep gas in my car and
so I can focus on the mission, because you want the people to be able to focus on the mission and not the things that are behind them or when they get home. They got to be able to say, I could go out here and not worry about those kind of things, and I can serve. So that's the thing. So what advice would you give other aspiring kind of social entrepreneurs, as I kind of like to call them, who want to create a sustainable kind of solutions for kind of global issues like homelessness?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think the first the first thing, the primary thing that needs to happen is you need to be absolutely passionate about what it is you're trying to do, because there'll be 1,000 people that just want to punch you in the face about it and just tell you you're wrong and
Yeah,
you're doing it
yeah,
all wrong and you can't do this. And it's so easy to tell people like, you can't, that won't work, this won't work, this won't work, that won't work. And if you're passionate about it, you can get through all that, especially through the sales. You know, every company, every nonprofit has a sales component to it, and it's the sales side that's just the toughest part of that whole thing, is getting somebody
100%,
to
man.
getting somebody to part with their money, and especially when they're getting hammered with 1,000 ads a day from everything they're clicking on, looking at, driving by. Just everything is hitting them with a marketing message, and you're the 1,001 person to walk up and hit them with a marketing message. And as soon as that happens, usually their eyes just glaze over, and you just like, it's hard to convert customers. So, you know, if you're an entrepreneur, be passionate about what you're doing, figure out the sales side. Because if you can't sell what it is you think you're going to try and sell, like you have a big problem. It's not going to work.
Hmm.
It's just not going to
Hmm.
work. It doesn't matter if you think you have a great idea. It doesn't matter if you have the best version of whatever product you think you're selling out there. That doesn't matter. If you can't sell it, it's not your company or your nonprofit or whatever. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's so key. I mean, and if you can't, you need to find the people that can. It's interesting you say that. So I
yeah,
actually consult with companies and teach sales coaching. And one of the very first things I say is you're not selling. You're having a very intentional conversation with somebody like the person you care the most about. Think about that, like your mother, whoever that is, and you're trying to quote unquote convince them or share something to them that's of value, importance. How do you have that conversation? This is how
yeah,
you have to feel about this. And if you truly are passionate and care about what you are selling, those conversations will become natural and you won't be selling. You'll be sharing. And it's like, you don't
right,
understand. You have to have this. Here's why. Like, let's talk about
right,
this. It's a very intentional conversations. And I would
right,
tell you this too, is the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway from any sales process, you've got to understand the other person's why. And it can't
right,
be a surface why. It's got to be deeper than that. It's got to be that kind of thing. What will happen if you don't if you
right.
don't act? Because people make decisions based on emotion and justify it with logic later. So we try to get to that emotional piece when we're trying to quote unquote sell them something.
Yeah,
So
and they have to be, like you said, they have to have that need inside of them. And if you're just having a conversation about what it is you do, and they feel that need inside of them already, and they already know it's a fit, it's the sales cycle is done. I mean, you've made a connection with somebody who
100%.
wants what it is you're offering. And then it flows like water. If you're trying to sell them something, if you're trying to sell refrigerators to an Eskimo and they're like, it's cold outside, I don't think I need a fridge. It's like,
Yeah.
no, 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 you need a fridge. It's like, oh, I just tore my meat outside. Like, what are
Yeah.
and then you're just wasting everyone's time, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, so you need to understand, like you said, the why. You need to understand why they would even do business with you at all, and and it needs to make sense from an emotional point of view and a logical point of view. I think
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is the
you
main
got to
thing.
be in front of the right audience. And here's another kind of analogy: is it's like uh, you show up to play football with football pads, not a baseball glove. You're like, hey, I'm in the wrong stadium. I need to be in
Right,
the right stadium here. At least I need the
right,
right audience, right? So
yeah,
But before we kind of move into the rapid fire, is there anything that you want to kind of share here? Maybe a question I didn't ask, something that you really want to make sure that the audience kind of hears in this part?
Um, I I I don't know. I would love feedback on Happy Vest, like, and it can be negative or positive. And in fact, the negative feedback is probably more useful, but the positive feedback is great. Obviously, it keeps you motivated to keep going. So, anyone who watches this podcast and wants to check out happyvest.com and give us the feedback and just say, no, you're an idiot. You can't do it that way. You should do it this way, and blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. Let's have a vigorous discussion about it. But I'd love to have all the feedback. And so I think that's like a really important part of what it is we're doing right now. And we're trying to be agile as we launch so we can adjust as we go forward. We have a model in mind, but obviously, as you start a business and you start to grow, it the market kind of drives the business as well as the vision.
Mhm.
You have to kind of pay attention to both, and we're excited to try it out.
Yeah, culture of dissent, man, is what you got to have anywhere, right? Because that's how you
Yeah.
get better. You can't just have a bunch of people agreeing. You
Well,
got to
and
have
that's
dissent.
part of the beauty of the United States, right? And that's the beauty of like free speech, and you just say whatever it is you need to say, like say it.
That's it.
Like, it's okay. You can be, if you offend me a little bit, it's okay. I'm not going to punch you in the face or something like that.
I might want
You
to,
know?
but I won't. I'm not.
I'll refrain. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I think this Happy Vest idea, it's the type of idea that I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, you ought to be able to look at this and go, all right, yeah, this is worth
No
a
brainer.
try. Like
Absolutely.
and because we're going to be very merit based, and colorblind that way. It's like we're targeting people based on their need for help. Like, do
Yeah.
you need help? I don't care if you're green or black or brown or white or yellow. I don't care. I don't care what sex you are, what sex you think you are, you don't need to tell me. I don't care. Like, do you need help? Do you want a job? Let's work. Oh, you're a good
Yeah.
worker? Okay, let's
Yeah,
promote.
because that's the thing,
Oh, you're
Rob.
a crappy worker? Go away.
That's the thing. A beautiful thing you just said there is like globally, the things that we all have in common as humans. First of all, we're all human beings, right? We're all having
Yeah,
this experience together
we're
on
all
Earth.
red and squishy on the inside, right?
Dude,
It's like,
absolutely. You look at us under a microscope, you can't tell the difference, right?
yeah.
But also we all it may be a little different on each list, but it's all relatively the same thing, the things that we want. Security, safety, love, and an opportunity, whatever order that falls for you, it's pretty much the same globally. So
Right.
what you're doing, this mission speaks to that. I mean,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter politically, religiously, any of that kind of stuff. None of that stuff matters. Do you need help? That's really, there's your motto. Do you need help?
Yeah.
So what is your motto, by the way? I think I saw it. I don't know.
It's fighting poverty and pollution with technology.
Ah,
So
yeah,
and maybe it'll change next month, but that's about as tight as I could describe what Happy Vest is in you got to have a 2-second pitch and a 10-second
Got to
pitch,
sum it up. Yeah, yeah.
30
What's your
second
elevator
pitch,
pitch? Yeah, yeah. What's your
you
elevator?
got to have all those pitches ready, and I need to get better at getting all of those tuned up and whatnot. But
Hey, this is super relevant. It's what could fit on a sign that somebody would hold on the street.
right.
That's like what's your motto? It's got to be enough to fit on the sign that's hard hitting, right?
In 50-point font, right?
Right.
And not too big of a sign either. Like
That's right, man. That's
yeah.
right, bro. So we're at the rapid fire segment. So I hope you're ready. I hope you're strapped in. These are hard hitting questions, okay?
Hold on,
So
let me get my
you ready?
seatbelt. All right, I'm ready.
You ready? All right. Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Yeah.
Well, okay. When you say morning person, if that includes 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., then yeah, I'm a morning
Yeah.
person.
So you're a combination of the both? Yeah. I tend to be both.
Uh,
I will sometimes go to bed at 1 a.m., but I'm up at 4 to get to the gym. So I can be a blend of both.
yeah, my wife doesn't like this so much because she's a solid 8 hour a night kind of sleeper, but I'm okay with 3. I'm okay with
Yeah.
4. Like I probably sit best with 5, but if I had to do one all-nighter a week, I'd be okay with that. Like I'd
Bro,
work
I'm
it
the
out.
same. So a 6 hour night for me is like a 9 hour night for my wife. I'm like,
Mm.
that's boss. Like
Yeah.
5, 4, I can operate on. 6 is like, I'm good. I can roll.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I woke up after 5 hours last night, and I woke up I was up until like 1, and I woke up at 5:30 something, and I was just like, my body is just like, okay, I'm awake. Let's go. Let's get up. Let's do
let's
this.
go.
And
It just
so
knows it's ready. So, what's one thing you've learned from the Happy Vest community that has surprised you?
let's see how easy it is to get people involved. I
Hmm.
thought it would be a lot harder to find workers, and there's just it's the need is so huge, and as soon as people hear about it, they're just like, "Yep, I want to do it." So
That's great.
yeah,
What's one thing you always carry with you?
uh, my phone.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
got
very
everything.
common answer. That's a very common answer.
My phone, because it's
What's your?
now that my Apple Wallet's involved, integrated in
Oh
my
my
phone.
God,
I just don't even carry my wallet half the time. I just have it in
I
my.
don't either, man. I pay either through my watch or my phone. I don't even.
Yeah,
Like people
yeah,
say, "Do you have a card?" I'm like, "Card? I don't even know where it is."
yeah. Right.
And then what sucks about that is if for whatever reason my watch it won't read it, and same thing. I'm like,
Oh,
oh crap! Like, what do I
right,
do?
right. Or you
So,
go to a
uh,
place that doesn't have like touchless, pay.
yeah,
You know what I hate is when I don't carry my wallet and I just go into the grocery store to buy 12 pack of beer or something like that. And it's just like, nope, we need to see your ID. I'm like, you
yeah.
see all this gray hairs? Like I'm not a young
Right.
man. And they're like, we don't, doesn't matter. We need to
You're
see the
like,
ID. I'm just like, come
yeah,
on.
you're like, look at the gray. You see these? These don't come.
Oh my
Those come with
goodness.
age. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what's your favorite inspirational quote?
Um, I have a couple of quotes, and I don't have the exact words in front of me, but it's something like, um, boldness has genius and power in it. Whatever you dream you can do it now.
Yeah, man,
And
that's
that's
good.
like
Yeah, who said that? Do you know who said that?
it's yeah, I'm gonna butcher his name, but originally it's thought to be Goethe or
Yeah,
Goethe. I don't know. Is
yeah.
that pronounced Goethe? I
I
don't know.
think it's as pronounced. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. But it's kind of it's like a play that was written, and I think it's been translated a couple different ways. So that isn't the exact quote. Nobody knows exactly exactly how it's said, but it's more or less that's the spirit of the quote. It's
Nice.
it's just be bold
Hmm.
and do it. Uh, and there's a ton of smart people out there. There's so many smart, brilliant people out there. There's so many hard workers out there that don't necessarily get ahead, and it's a big part of being an entrepreneur is just being able to take the chance. Jump off
Man,
a cliff, jump off, do it. Like design the
Geronimo, right?
parachute. Yeah,
Geronimo,
Geronimo.
right?
Geronimo. It's I always describe it to people like if you think you're going to be an entrepreneur, and 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 if the thought experiment I give people is like, imagine jumping out of an airplane and having to put together your parachute on the way down as the ground's rushing up at you. And that's what I call that's what I call entrepreneur belly. You know,
Yeah.
that's like such the feeling in your stomach when you're starting a business, and it's
Mhm.
it's a good feeling for some, and for some it's just absolutely terrifying. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
feel this way. And if you don't think you're the type of person that wants to feel that way, don't start a business. You're better as an employee.
That's the difference. That's a really good analogy. That's the difference of the people that do and the people that don't.
Yeah, not
Absolutely.
everyone
And I
should.
think
Not everyone should.
one of my mottos I carry every single day with me is you don't need permission.
Mm.
You don't need anybody's permission.
Uh-huh.
So what's
Yeah.
your biggest pet peeve?
Um, probably people that say they're going to do something and then don't.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think just if you commit to me and you tell me you're going to do something and then you don't, maybe you get one at max, two chances. After that, it's like, I can't rely on you to do anything.
Yeah. You got
So
to audit that out. I
yeah,
think though I find, and I agree with you 100%, but I also think that I find that people are just trying to be accommodating. They mean well, but it's
yeah,
that difference, right? It's that difference that you just talked about jumping out of the plane. They
yeah,
get into it, they go, oh, this is really not for me. And then they're like, I can't tell him though that it's not for me, because I made this commitment. I feel bad. So I think people mean well. They just don't know how to really, some people just aren't comfortable saying no, first of all, initially,
yeah.
because of that, because they want
Right.
to be accommodating. So,
Right. Well, and not everyone realizes that 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 tinge of discomfort you feel when you're saying no, it's okay. Uh, it is uncomfortable, but what it does is it strengthens your relationship in that now you can rely on each other to tell each other the truth, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
And no matter what kind of relationship you're in, whether you're it's the relationship with your wife or your spouse or your business partner or a random person on the street, it's just having that 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 content of character, right? To be able to
hmm,
say what you mean and do what you say, and to be able to do that is the secret to unlocking success in a lot of
yeah.
ways. You know, you'll attract good people around you, and they'll want to
Well,
stay with you.
I agree. And then also, no is a complete sentence. You don't have to give an explanation. That's
Yeah,
it. You don't have to give an explanation.
I I
So,
love to say yes. I love to say
yeah,
yes when I can, but yeah,
yeah,
that's not always the answer.
that's it. Books or movies?
I'm more movies. I should read more
Yeah,
books, and I
yeah.
really should. I just don't.
What's a movie that stands out to you that you've watched recently that you'd recommend?
Oh, I it's 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 probably inappropriate for some, but I don't care. But we just finished watching Tropic Thunder, and I just think
Oh,
that's one of
oh
the
my God. Oh my
that's just
God, that's great.
that's just one of the funniest movies. It just cracks me up, and I don't like most Ben Stiller movies. I would say, but
He plays the same guy. He's the same guy in every movie, I feel like,
yeah,
in my
yeah,
opinion,
that's probably true. But
Yeah.
I just yeah, it still trips me out that how Robert Downey Jr. got away with playing
Oh
blackface
my
in this
God.
movie and
I know.
didn't completely ruin his career. I'm like, wait a minute, there's something more subtle going on here. I'm
Dude,
just not
not only
getting.
did it not ruin his career, look what he went on to do. I mean, he launched the Marvel kind of whole thing with Iron Man and all that stuff, right? It's like,
It just trips me out, like how that works. And
yeah,
you know, obviously I never want to be canceled in my life or whatever, but I'm not gonna think about that. But you just think about, I don't know, it's just it's so hilarious. The whole movie is just, it cracks me up. Yeah,
yeah,
the whole
yeah.
Tom Cruise. parts too just make me
Yeah,
laugh, like the
it
dancing.
is funny. Uh-huh. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
If I could have any superpower, I'd love to have unlimited memory and the ability to recall anything I wanted. Uh, but I have trouble remembering things. My brain's full. My RAM is full, I think.
It's, you need an upgrade, another
But
stick, right?
that's
Yeah,
what the internet's for, I guess.
yeah, that's right. I don't have to remember this stuff anymore, right? Like I think it
I
was,
guess so.
it may have been Henry Ford. It could be attributing this to the wrong person. If he was like, you know, how do you, if I, I have a problem or whatever, what I come to you, how do I know get the answer? Well, I might not know it, but I'll know how to find it. I don't need to know it all. I can
Yeah,
get you what I need. I don't remember the
right.
full gist of it. What's one piece of advice you'd give your younger self?
Don't be afraid. Just it'll all work out.
And
Like
I'll work out.
don't be afraid. And even when you think it's not working out, it's working out.
Yeah, yeah.
when
It's,
it
you're
when
you're
it
you're
feels
where you're supposed to be right
horrible.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're where
Yeah.
you are right now. Yeah, where you're supposed to be right now.
And those times where you feel like, wow, my life like really sucks right now, or it's really hard right now. That's all part of like, you know, the steel sharpening steel kind of
Mhm.
effect where you're getting tuned up, you're getting better, you're feeling what it's like to not want to feel a certain way anymore,
Mhm.
right? And now you know what it feels like. Now you know what you don't want, and that's
Yeah,
all it's all okay. It's all okay.
man, I think that's more important than anything is what I don't want than what I do
Yeah,
want now as I've gotten
right.
older, right? It's so much more important.
Well, and I think
So,
as an entrepreneur, like that's a huge aspect that drives me is the feeling of regret.
mhm,
Is I don't want to ever feel like I regret not taking a chance or not doing something, or I don't want to feel that way where I'm just like, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. If
right.
I was only brave enough, I could have done that. And I just never want to feel that way. And so,
I agree, man.
you know,
What's your guilty pleasure other than Tropic Thunder?
um, I probably, I don't know, you probably talk to my wife about this, and I guess risk taking is just like something that's in me. Uh, I I I love to feel that kind of adrenaline push, and as I get older, I've kind of calmed down in this way. But I fly little airplanes. I I still like to go off, the jumps when I'm snowboarding or skiing and stuff like that. I'm probably too
Mhm.
old to do all that sort of stuff. And my wife says I'm not allowed to have a motorcycle, but I'd really love to have a motorcycle. But well, I guess we'll hold off. We'll hold off on that. But I I still when I'm playing sports, I'm still like just going
Super
100%.
competitive. Same.
Yeah, and I probably shouldn't be, but it's
I'll
okay.
risk injury to my body to not let my son outrun me. I will break stuff. You know,
There there will be a day where he outruns you, and it's
I
okay.
know.
It's
I,
okay.
I know. He still can't. He's 22 and he still can't beat me. So we'll see.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
My
I'll
my
be.
son my sons passed me up when they were 16, 17 playing soccer on the pitch. They could finally outrun me, but
Now it's been a minute since we raced, and I'll be 53 this month, so maybe Father Time has. I still got wheels, I know, because I've run the treadmill, and I've run the
well,
the track and stuff, but I probably lost more than I think in my head. I
as soon
probably
as you
in my head I feel like I'm moving like Usain
yeah,
Bolt, but if somebody's watching me, like, is he speed walking? So,
yeah. Maybe Tom Cruise has a school to teach old guys how to run or something like that.
dude, there's not a movie he's ever been in that he's not ran. Right?
Well,
He runs in every movie.
except Tropic Thunder. I don't remember him running in
Oh,
that movie.
that's true.
Like there's that. That's probably the
Yeah,
only
that's
one
it.
where he doesn't run. But
He runs in every movie. If you could have dinner with any three people, living or dead, who would they be?
first would be my dad. He's dead.
Uh,
Yeah. I really miss him.
hmm.
I would probably, I would be picking relatives like my grandma,
Mhm.
my two grandmas. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I would just
I
like
love
to
that, man.
be around them one more time.
Yeah, sure. I definitely understand that, man. So my father passed when I was 5, and
Mm, wow,
my
that's
my
tough.
both of my grandmothers are dead. Yeah, so uh,
So
mine would be very similar.
who'd you have as a male role model?
Had some uncles. That's about it. I played a lot of sports, so it was my
Okay,
coaches
coaches.
that were my that were my thing. So, but nobody in the house because my mother. I had a sister, and
Oof.
my both of my grandfathers were dead before I was born. I didn't know them,
Yeah, I
and
didn't know my
so
grandpas either.
yeah, so that was it. So yeah, it'd be very similar. Just because my father passed, I've got a few little fleeting memories of him,
Mm,
but just to sit as a because he died at 30, and I think God,
wow.
I'm much older than him to have a conversation with him now at my age and or even to
Yeah,
see him aged and just to see what that would be like. But I
yeah,
think I would be more interested to have a conversation with him as an adult to an adult, him as a younger adult, just to see
yeah.
what that would be like. So
Yeah, my dad didn't die at 30. He died at, I think it was 67. Um,
still way too young, man.
it's still way too young, and I'm way closer to 67 than I am not. And yeah, as I get older, I think about, wow, there's not a whole lot more time left, but I just try to stay healthy, like
So
such as yourself.
I'm gonna share this with you. This is uh, I created a piece of content that I pushed out that got a ton of views and a ton of shares, but I'll share it here with you since it's relevant. So I was thinking about this. I recorded this a couple of weeks ago. It's about a 6-minute video, but it hit me one day. I was driving, and we commonly talk about. Okay, I'll back into this. The average age of an American, male or female, is 76 years old. The average age of a woman is 80. The average age of a man is about 75. So my mother, my mother is 77,
Mm,
or she would be. So right now she's 76, 76. No, she is 77, 77, 78, 79, 77, 7, 8, 9. So she's 76 now. So thinking about that, um, we don't have, let's just assume she lives to be 40. So I have 4 more years with her, right?
or
In
lives to be
theory.
80. Hmm.
Yeah, if she lives to be 80. I have 4 more years with her. I actually don't have 4 years. I have moments with her.
Right.
And so think about that for a minute. If you're somebody that lives across the country from your parents, we'll use parents as an example, and they're 76 and they have 4 more years according to the CDC, you may only see them twice a year.
Yeah.
So you really only have 8 more moments with them.
Yeah.
8 more moments you have with them. And how long are those moments that you have? Man, it really shifts the perspective of I got to really take advantage of those moments I'm with them. You don't have 4 more years, you have 8 more moments with that person. It just changes things. And I think you think more about that when you get to our age, you get older. You start
Yeah.
thinking about, mortality and all that kind of stuff more. And then you see your aging parents and you're like, oh my God, my mother's 10 minutes away. I still don't see her enough. I mean, I see her plenty. I still don't see her enough. And then when I
Right.
started thinking about that, like, I only have moments left with her. I don't have years. It's sad, but it also makes you appreciate those every
Right.
second that you're with them.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I have this, I'll try to explain it quickly, but I have this like morbid way of making decisions. I call my deathbed method of making decisions. And so I think about my deathbed and the moment right before I'm about to die. And I try to imagine who I want around me,
hmm,
standing over me. And then I try to imagine what I want them to think about me obviously I want my kids there, my wife there, and my closest family members. And, I want them to look at me and think, wow, that was a good man. And he really like did everything he could. And we love him and he loves us. And it's very clear, to everyone. And then I try to zoom out from there and just go, okay, well, what does it take? What do I need to do the day before I die, a week before I die, a year before I die, to make sure that I don't have any regrets? All the important people around me know that I love them. And I've done everything that I could do professionally, family, personally, from all those aspects, that I'm going to die like a happy man. And I think about the years before my death, and then I think about 10 years from now, 5 years from now, next week, tomorrow. Like, how do you connect the dots in order to make that scenario, that deathbed day, turn out exactly the way you want it to turn out? And whether it's talking with your mom enough and feeling like you did what you could on that relationship, not being on your deathbed and regretting the time you didn't spend with your mom, right? That sort of, those sort of thought experiments. And anyway, that's something I do when I'm making big decisions. That's what I do to make sure I distill away everything that doesn't matter anymore, and help me make a decision. Do I go right? Do I go left? And does it matter? Does it really matter? That's my way of how I determine,
I
does it
love that,
matter?
man. Yeah, no, I love that. That's because it makes you get to the essence of it as opposed
Yeah.
to the surface of it all.
Yeah. No one cares if they didn't get that last PowerPoint presentation out on time,
No,
No
I
one
say this
cares.
to people all the time when I go into consult. They're like, "Yeah, I have vacation days, but I feel bad taking them, or I don't want to take a lot of time." I said, "Listen, when a company is done with you, they're done with you."
Yeah.
I said, "What you don't want to happen is, and I promise you, this is not going to happen. When you are on your deathbed, you're not going to think about." Man, that week I did not take off to help push company profits at additional 0.00002%. I'm so glad I
Yeah.
did that. No, it's going to
Right.
be at that moments that you spent with your family for taking those 2 weeks off. That's what's going to matter.
Yeah.
Like, so, it just do those things, man. Because those emotional, like for me, emotional deposits are so much more significant and
Yeah.
important than financial. I mean, money
Yeah.
comes
And
and goes. We need the money, but
yeah. And I don't know if you had a chance, as you were a kid, to go on many vacations, but the
yeah.
memories that are locked in my brain as a kid are just the vacation time. I don't remember what day-to-day life was like, just going to school and plugging away. I just don't remember those kinds of days. And you remember something special that happened, and
Yeah,
that's what's
it's a
kind of
core
lost
memory.
in my head.
My
Yeah.
son we had a conversation a while back. He goes, he just brought it up. He goes, "Dad, you remember that time we were at Disney World and you were carrying on your shoulders and it was pouring down rain?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." He goes, "I love that day." And I was like, that's amazing that would be the thing that would stick in his brain as being a happy, fun moment. I was like, I was miserable. It had been hot all day. We're pouring down wet. I'm
Now
like,
it feels like
that's
we're
a happy.
sweating.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it just felt terrible, and he
Yeah.
loved it. And it wasn't even about the entire trip. It was about that moment of me carrying on the shoulders, rain falling, we're going through a crowd. Like you just don't know what's going to be that time, and so
Yeah.
you got to allow those time for that personal stuff to allow yourself to be open for those core memories
Yeah.
because you very rarely, like I don't have any. Well, I was in law enforcement, so I have some core memories there because there's some traumatic experiences
I
outside of
bet.
that. Most people I would submit to you, business wise, work wise, you don't have many core memories burned in. They're all personal things that
Yeah.
you've encountered, right? so
Right.
so
Yeah.
that's what really matters. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I guess the best way for people to find you is thehappyvest.com. Is that how they can
Mhm.
find all your socials and stuff like that?
Yeah, so there'll be the website, and there'll be Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and 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 TikTok. Um, and as those things get rolling, they'll just get bigger and bigger. But yeah, happyvest.com at the website. That'll have all the information that you need to get in contact with us and to download apps when it becomes available on the store and all that kind of stuff.
Is it going to iOS and Android, or just?
It will, both
Okay.
iOS and Android. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. And I'll make sure that's in the show notes for the listeners, the viewers, and all that kind of stuff on all the
Awesome.
platforms. So, what final words of wisdom or inspiration do you have for the listeners?
Oh, well, I'm assuming, they're an entrepreneurial crowd, and yeah, like I was just saying before, don't be afraid. Like it's really the fear that's going to hold you back from doing anything that you want to do. If you believe you can do it and you don't see a reason, you're not violating the laws of physics or something like that on this thing that you're thinking about. I mean, just do it and try it and fail.
Yeah.
Just fail,
Yeah.
and you'll learn a lot from that, and then fail again and just keep failing until the recipe gets worked out. Don't be afraid.
That's it.
Don't be afraid of looking silly. Don't be afraid of failing. Because that's going to be the secret to figuring it all out.
Man, I love that. Well, I appreciate having you on, man. This was a really good, insightful, great conversation. Look forward to the updates that come along as this thing develops. Yeah. And thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Reinventing Life After 50. And this is always to your health and wealth. Bye now.
See ya.